number one thing, you have to avoid, you have to find women that are avoiding like the big red flags, the big major ones that are non-negotiable. To me, those are any sort of past drug or alcohol abuse, any sort of substance abuse, um, any sort of violence in her past, whether it was fighting with her ex or anything like that. Um, Daddy issues is a big one. I know this is going to suck for a lot of women to hear, but the one thing that ladies night did for, I think, both Rich and I is double down that the most put together women were the ones that had good fathers growing up. The most fucked up women were the ones that had no father growing up and had no relationship with him. Now, I'm not talking about a good relationship being your little princess and your daddy's, daddy's little do bitch. And, you can call him at any time or he buys you whatever he wants. He treats you like the princess or whatever and gives you what you want. I'm talking about a man that knows how to run the house, a man that knows how to lead, a disciplinarian, a man that's competent, takes care of things. And I understand. I know that's becoming increasingly rare. I really know. But again, we're talking about probabilities here, not possibilities. Blank canvases are far more abundant than the Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is one of one. Blank hunks of marble are plentiful. The Statue of David is one of one. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? So I really think the best possible scenario that you can have as a man is you get your stuff buttoned up, you get in shape, you get your money right, you learn how to lead, you know how to stand on your principles. It was really funny. If you guys didn't watch the show last night, we had 2 ladies quit within the first hour, which we'd never had before. I'm not saying that as a badge of honor, like I got those dumb bitches to rage quit. The show was great after that. I think we got some good ground, like Casey Marie and Galia, but definitely it was more of a conversation than kind of back and forth. But I digress. The point that I'm trying to make is that it was so clear that the problem that Genevieve had, for example, you guys, you if you go back, it's all the shaming language. You hate women. You're a misogynist. You don't respect women. You're definitely single. And most guys, I guarantee most guys will capitulate to this. They'll say, oh, no, I'm not a misogynist. I love women. And obviously I'm going to reject that moniker, but I even told her, I was like, so what if I am? Like, okay, what else you got? And when women realize that their shaming tactics and their name calling and their speech policing doesn't work, they have nothing else to hit you with. Because most guys will fold because like, oh, I want this girl to like me. I don't want to see, like, I'm going to tell her I'm a feminist because I think that's going to get me some pussy. I'll tell her what she wants to hear. And most guys will not stand up to a girl. And when I said, yeah, like I'm not going to capitulate. I'm not going to let you just throw these names around. You don't even know the definitions of what you're calling me, which is embarrassing. I asked her, I was like, do you make it a habit to call people names that you don't even know what they mean? And then she left, like she couldn't handle it. So that's another thing for you guys. It's like standing on your principles. You'll realize, I keep bumping the table. Sorry if it gets blurry. You'll realize through your interactions that women are so much more malleable and moldable than you guys really think. Now, there are definite instances. Let's take feminism, for example. There are a lot of fringe feminists out there. There are a lot of women that are saying, yeah, I'm a feminist. And then the minute you go like, yeah, like I don't buy that stuff, they'll be like, oh, okay, interesting. They're going around or going along with what the mainstream, they're hedging their bets, right? Unplugged men who stand on their shit and don't believe in feminism, don't support the LGBT, whatever, alphabet army, don't believe trans people really exist, think that it's a mental illness, and don't succumb to these retarded mainstream media narratives about cutting kids' genitals off and that we should send all our money to fucking Ukraine so it can be laundered and turned into, cocaine for Zelensky. Those are rare people. Those don't exist as much as you would think. Like if you go on Twitter, you'll see it all the time, but like most people aren't on Twitter. Most people don't exist there. Like Twitter is a vacuum. This online social media space, this unplugged arena that we live in is an extremely small microscopic part of the corner of the internet. But because we live in it all the time, we think that's our reality and everybody's like that. But that's not how it is. The vast majority of guys out there are still, I don't know if it's the vast majority. I think the tide's starting to turn, but let's just rewind the clock maybe a year, 2 years ago, where the safer bet for a woman, especially if she wanted to be accepted by a guy that she thought was attractive, was to say, yeah, I'm a feminist. Yeah, I'm a liberal. I believe in equal rights, blah, blah, blah. Like I believe in blah, 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 blah. And she would most likely run into a guy that was like, oh, yeah, I support that, this and that. I mean, we don't have to get into the sort of underlyings of actually liberal men tend to be low testosterone. They tend to be less attractive. Women tend to not go for them, but I digress. What women aren't really caring about liberal principles. They're just caring to go along with the current most popular thing at that given time because it's a survival mechanism. Going along with what the crowd is at better odds of acceptance and better chance of survival, protection, provisioning, all of those things. So the actual content of what she believes in or what you guys are talking about, oh, I believe in liberal principles, matters far less than the actual context. She's really just saying like, what's the right thing for me to say where I'll most likely get in this guy's frame? And then if a guy turns it on her, and I used to do this too, it'd be like, yeah, I don't believe in any of that. I'm not a feminist at all. I think that's all bullshit. I think there's blue jobs, pink jobs. I think women are designed for, I think women are really good at these things. I think men are really good for these things. I don't think we should fuck that up. And just like that, like, yeah, actually, if I could find a guy who would pay for everything and I didn't, or like I could stay at home and raise kids, I would do that. I would quit my job tomorrow. And it's so fast. And it's in the same conversation. On one hand, she's like, yeah, I love my job. I love being a boss girl. You know, it gives me so much, value to my life and it makes me feel so accomplished. And I'd be like, yeah, I think all that's bullshit. She'd be like, yeah, I would quit my job tomorrow if the right guy came along. And that's what I'm talking about.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.